Hi, hello, welcome. My name is Bethany. This is my YouTube channel where I talk about my knits and any other bits that I feel like. I am coming to you from Northern Ontario, Canada, where it's kind of gloomy, but still kind of warm. Yeah, it's weird. Anyway, I am here with a monthly project update video because it's been about 3-4 weeks, a month-ish since I last recorded. So let's get right into it. Let's talk about what I'm wearing. It also happens to be a finished object, so let's get right into it. This is my Cicady by Alicia Plummer, and I had been working on this in my previous update video, and I was debating lengthening it and all kinds of other stuff. Long story short, I finished it. I'm not going to get up and show you the whole thing because I think it still won't fit in frame, but I will pop up a couple of pictures or some B-roll just to show you how it fits. I really like it. I can show you how the sleeves turned out. They look really good. I did lengthen the sleeves. That is one modification that I did make, and I'm glad I did. I think it would have felt weirdly short if I hadn't extended the sleeves by a couple of repeats. It probably would have hit like right on the elbow, and like, I don't know about you, but like when I put my elbows like on a desk or like, you know, cross my arms on a surface or whatever, if something is digging into my elbow, it is the absolute worst. So yeah, as I mentioned last time, I knit this out of a sport weight cotton yarn, that the name I cannot remember, but I will put it in the description or up on the screen if I remember to do so. But it is a sport weight yarn, and Alicia's pattern is written for Aran weight. So right off the hop, I had to adjust some gauge, which also meant adjusting sizing. I think it really worked out because I ended up knitting, I believe, size 4. If I'm incorrect, I will correct myself on the screen. But basically, I knit the size that was for a 38 bust. And even with my gauge being different, I feel like the fit is really good. Not too big, not too small. It feels like perfectly oversized, which is what I was going for. So yeah, I really like this. I've worn it when it's been really hot. But it was really nice to just sort of, you know, keep the wind off my arms and off my shoulders and stuff like that. And I think it's really cute. I definitely would knit it again. I would even knit it again in a sport weight plant-based yarn. But it would also be really interesting to knit it with the worsted weight yarn that it calls for. I think that would be really interesting as well. I just like the fact that the sport weight yarn feels lighter on. I'm always afraid that a plant-based Aran weight garment is going to feel heavy, but I suppose that depends on the yarn. If you have any insights on that, please put it below. I would also definitely knit this in like a wool. Like, it would be interesting to swatch for a wool version in sport weight and a wool version in Aran weight or worsted weight as well. I think that would be really interesting. So yeah, I'm really pleased with this. I've already worn it enough that to me it's absolutely worth making. So yeah, I would absolutely recommend this pattern if you're looking for like a sort of a meshy, lightish, and really quite straightforward cardigan pattern. The shaping was really smart in this, and I really appreciated where all the shaping was. Because at first I was like, because it's knit in parts. So you knit the back, you knit the 2 front panels, you sew all that together, and then you do your sleeves. And at first I was just like, I don't know about knitting in pieces, you know, because you do have to keep track of, like, if you're doing extra rows, you got to keep track of that on all 3 pieces so that all 3 pieces meet up nicely when you have to do the sewing. But it was really good. The shaping in the back and the 2 fronts was really smart. There's short row shaping in it, which I think makes a huge difference, and it's also not obvious. I decided to do my short row shaping in the stockinette portions rather than in the mesh, just because I did not have the brain power to follow the instructions for short rows in mesh, and I was just like, we're just going to avoid that. We're just going to do it in the stockinette, and it worked out really nicely. So yeah, that is my first finished object. Let's move on to what else I have, because I do have quite a few other finished objects. The thing that I actually finished first after filming last time was this cutie little guy. This is the Knitting Badge Kerchief by Nicholas Heed. Very well-known little kerchief pattern, and it's got little dropped stitches in it and garter stitch, and it was really nice to use just like a little bit of leftover, what did I use? I used Sandisgard Tin Line, which is like the linen blend fingering weight yarn that they have out, and I knit a top out of this previously a couple summers ago, and I had some left over, so I thought it would be really cute, and it is really cute. I don't normally wear it like this, but I'm just going to show you because you can absolutely just tie it in the back and wear it like that. I have been wearing it more like, someone told me I look like a Girl Scout, and I didn't hate it, right? So I've been wearing it either like knotted like this, you know, with one tail going around, kind of like that. I've also used a ring to hold the two tails secure, and I actually really liked that because that was like having an extra piece of hardware in there, and the ring didn't go anywhere. I know it seems like, oh, wouldn't that slide around, and I suppose depending on your yarn it might, but it didn't with this, so I was really pleased. And this literally took me 2 days because I knew it was going to grow when it was going to be blocked, so I didn't use all that much of my leftovers. I might even still have some left, a very teeny tiny amount. But yeah, this took no time at all, and so highly recommend if you're looking for a small, satisfying project. Dig around if you have plant-based, like linen, cotton-based fingering weight. Make one of these. It's really cute, and it really works for keeping the sun off your neck. That's how I was wearing it. And it's also just enough that if you're a person who if the back of your neck gets cold, and that's how you get cold in air conditioning, this was great. Has been great in air conditioned spaces as well. Okay, let's move on to the next thing, which is my Woolsia, I believe is how you say it. My brain keeps wanting to call it Woolisa, but I believe it's Woolsia shawl by Amba O'Brien. And it's not all gonna fit in frame, but here it is. Whee! That's one side. And there's the other. And I used Wool Dreamers Sauna. I think that's how you say it. If not, please correct me in the comments. I had bought this thinking I might knit a garment or a shawl. Basically, the wool had been recommended to me as a wool cotton blend that would be good for summer. This I have discovered, while I liked the experience of knitting with it, it is too rustic for me, I think, in terms of ever knitting a garment with it. That being said, it is so light in terms of like the actual weight. Like, this is a lot of shawl, and it does not feel like a lot of shawl when it's on, when it's wrapped around. So I do like that, but the actual texture of the yarn is just too, it's a little too rustic for me. That being said, I've only ever put it on, like, it's summer, right? I'm already hot, you know, putting wool on is going to make you hotter, so it gives you that prickly feeling that is kind of awful and makes you think you're itchy. So it will be really interesting, because I am going to hold on to this and try wearing it through the fall and see how that goes. But I was really pleased, and like all of this eyelet detail is just so satisfying. It was really good TV knitting. I really enjoyed it. Really good TV knitting, really good car knitting. Yeah, and I did a little picot edge. I hope you can see it there. Yeah, So this was great. This was a good, like, sort of a little more long-term-ish project. It took me a little bit longer than some of the other stuff I've been working on. But that was great. And I would absolutely knit this again. And if you look on the pattern page on Ravelry, there's an image of it done with mini skeins, and I really like how that looks. And I think, like, when I knit this again, I will absolutely use mini skeins and do a striped version. I think that would be really cool. Okay, last but not least is another tank top. Slightly unplanned, but not really. So this is knit out of Good Grief Yarn and Provisions Fresco, which is a fingering weight yarn that has rayon or bamboo, linen, flax, and cotton all mixed in. It is a cornucopia of plant fibers, and I had been going back and forth about what about what to knit with it, because I had been wanting to use it for a garment for the summer, and I had actually cast on the notched hem tank top by Pearl Soho, and almost automatically I was getting the feeling that I was not going to have enough yarn for that particular pattern for the size that I wanted to do. I had a gut feeling about it, so I just went with it. And instead, I looked up, because the yardage on these skeins is a little less than, like, your average 400 yard skein. So I had a little bit less than what you might think would come out of 2 skeins. That being said, I finally landed on the Tip Top Tank Fine version, by Emily, I believe it is Baldwin? Don't know. Once again, I cast on not the wrong size, just like a size that was going to end up being too big, because even working with it, I could tell that the bamboo viscose component in the yarn was making the garment grow already, just with the weight of the project. And I did, in fact, I got because it's bottom up, and I got all the way up to the point where I was going to split to start knitting the fronts and the backs and then the straps. So I popped it on. I was like, mostly I was popping it on to see length, because I find that hard to guesstimate with a bottom-up pattern. And I popped it on, and there was just so much extra how am I trying to say it? There was so much extra in the body of the garment, so many extra inches, and it was nothing that I could, it's going to be fine, right? I was just like, it's going to look too big. It's going to look too much like a sack if I continue knitting this size. So I went down one size, because I think I'd been knitting size 4. I went to size 3, or it was I was knitting size 5. I went down to size 4. And I also did some shaping in the body. I got past the hem. I did I started about every 20 rows, just doing knit 2 together and slip knit along the side where the side seam would be, and then I started to shorten that, it would become every 10 rows, just so that I was getting some more what's the word I'm looking for, you're probably screaming at the screen right now. Just getting some more defined shaping, I guess, before I got to the point to split to do the fronts and backs and straps. So I did that, very successful. It is still a positive ease garment, but not excessively. It doesn't fit like a sack. It fits really nicely. It looks actually quite tailored. I do need to go back, having worn it once, and it does grow while it's on your body because of the weight of the garment, and also I think, it's going to sound silly, but like the heat of your body heat, I think also makes those plant fibers grow a little bit. So I do need to adjust the straps again. I needed to adjust them initially after knitting and blocking. It was too low cut because it is a V-neck. It was too low cut. It was showing my bra, and I was just like, nope, absolutely not. So I fixed it. That was great, but now I'm going to need to adjust just a little bit more, and I think it's just the front straps I need to adjust because the back feels fine and looks fine. But yeah, so that's really great. I'm super pleased that I got another warm weather garment done and in my wardrobe, and it's still warm enough to wear it. So once I get the straps adjusted, I'm really looking forward to having that be part of my wardrobe. And this yarn feels great on. It must be like the viscose softness, the viscose bamboo softness, because it didn't feel super great while knitting it. It was like fine, but like not wonderful. But after blocking, I was like, oh, it feels a little bit like your favorite washed a billion jillion times towel or a billion jillion times washed t-shirt. It just feels really nice and soft. So I will absolutely be picking up more Fresco from Good Grief, and I will be knitting something else. Like, I'd actually really like to knit a proper t-shirt in that, or even something long sleeve. That would feel really nice. Because I think that yarn would actually really work as like almost a 4-season yarn in a garment, because I think it layers really well. That's actually how I wore it the first time. The weather had cooled here, so I wore the tank top, and then I put a denim shirt over top, and just like wore it like a jacket, and it was really comfortable. So it might actually really work well as a layering piece. That is it for finished objects. Let's move on to whips. I'm going to talk about the first whip that I do not have with me on this couch, because it is having a mid-project block as we speak, but I'll prop up a picture. It is the Teo Linear or Linear top by, once again, going to apologize in advance, Cheyenne Price White, and I am knitting this out of some deep stash Fleece Artist yarn. Like, it's so old that I don't even know. Oh no, it is. I know I do have it here. It is Fleece Artist Trail Socks, and I'm not even sure if they make that anymore. And it's in the colorway Twilight, which is a dark blue and like gray and brown and almost black variegated yarn. And I've been searching for something to do with this yarn for a really long time, quite literally since I picked it up from when I worked in a local yarn shop, and I finally think I found the thing. It's getting a mid-project block because I need to see how this yarn blocks out, because I didn't swatch. I know, but I was just, with a garment like this, which is literally 2 pieces knit the exact same way and then seamed together, there's not a lot of shaping. Really, the yarn is doing all the work, and I'm just like, you know what? If it's not great, we frog it. It's fine. It's just yarn. So it's getting a block so that I can see the length that I'm getting once it's blocked, and also the width that I'm getting once it's blocked. Because really, you're knitting a big rectangle across, and it's going to form the body and sleeves all in one go, and then you seam the shoulders. By the looks of it, I haven't quite looked that far in the pattern because I'm only doing like the first piece, because you have to knit a second piece the exact same way. So I'm working on that, and the yarn is pooling more, and hopefully the picture is up so that you can see, whichever side, probably this side, so that you can see, it's pooling more than I expected. I thought that with the stitch count across, I would get more microstripping, but it's turning out that it's pooling, and you know what? I'm just going to embrace the pool. It's not what I expected, but I'm going to embrace the pool. So I'm really pleased with how that's going. Hopefully it will block out nicely, and I will be happy with how that looks. I'm knitting it on a 5.5 millimeter needle, which is what's recommended, and that seems to be working out so far. So I'm pleased with that. And that's sort of all I have to say about that one, just because it's truly mid project right now. So let's move on to sock whips, because that's what I have. That's what I have. I've got sock whips. So let's start with my first one, which is basically only like a quarter done. Oh gosh. Oh no, I got tangled. This is what happens when you don't check your project bag before you start recording. Okay, here we go. So I can't remember whether I showed this last time, whether this was cast on or not, but this is the Mermaid Avenue socks by our favorite girl, our favorite sock girl, Summer Lee Knit, or Summer Lee Design Co. Get your water. It's time to hydrate. Because I mentioned her. Okay, so I got inspired by this yarn to cast on the Mermaid Avenue socks, because I was looking for a textury sock that I hadn't already knit by her, because I was like, why not? I have this pattern, haven't knit it yet. So I really like this. The only downside is that I find for myself, while the chart for this texture is intuitive, it's not memorizable for me. So I do have to have it next to me when I'm knitting these. So they're okay TV knitting if we're watching something that I don't need to pay attention to. I know how that sounds, but you know what I mean, right? There are things that you watch where you're like, I'm not doing anything extra to distract myself. I am paying attention to this show because I am very invested in what's going on. And then there's shows that you're like, I can come in and out of this. You know, this is fine. So that's what this is, or this is like quiet audiobook time, where like all you have to do is listen, right? Or music time, where all you have to do is listen, and you can use your eyes to pay attention to the pattern. And I do need to have a row counter for this, because I did mess it up one time and I had to rip back. So I'm only halfway through the first sock. I have turned the heel. Hooray! And I'm really liking how this yarn is knitting up. This is Winter Mint by the color is Winter Mint. The yarn is Full Moon Fibers Solar Sock. I love Full Moon Fibers. Truly. Shut up and take my money. Like, I would buy one of everything from them if I could absolutely afford it. So I really like how this is looking. I thought perhaps the texture and the yarn would be too busy, but I actually really like it. These would look stunning in a solid or a tonal, and if I ever knit them again, I will absolutely do that instead. But I really like how the fun variegated yarn is knitting up. Okay, and then my second sock whip, which is a true half finished object, because I have one finished sock and one half finished sock because I've turned the heel. Hooray! This is the Starfall socks by Kayla Baldwin, who is also, I believe, Natural Knit on Instagram. If I'm wrong, I'll correct myself on the screen or in the description. This is a free pattern. So like, if you like how this texture looks, get yourself on Ravelry, and if you can, and get this pattern, because this is great TV knitting. This texture here is only a 4-row repeat, very memorizable. I really like how it's turning out. This yarn is from a local dyer. Her brand is Art by Anna. I don't think I have the tag, unfortunately. It's in the living room. I fell in love with this pink variegated, and it is knitting up wonderfully, and it feels great to work with. I don't think this local person is dying anymore, but I want her to know that I love her stuff. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how this is going. It'll be interesting to see how these block out, because as you can see, this sort of ribbed texture is really making it a very skinny sock. Right, and we all know that kind of texture can really block out. Oh, look. I match. Apparently I have a color palette, you guys. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how that's going. I think this sock in particular is going to go really quick, because it's sort of become my TV knitting, apart from the Teo Linie top, which of course is blocking right now. So if I'm watching TV, what am I going to work on? Probably my socks. Oh, airplanes. Sorry about that, if you can hear it. Yeah, so that is it for WIPs at the moment. Let's talk about what's next, because this time of year, it's so interesting, right? Because like intellectually, we've only just started August. It's not fall yet. But for those of us who kind of have to just endure the heat of summer, because I'm one of those people, while I love the season of summer, I don't love how hot it gets, how hot and humid it gets where I live. So, you know, like, it's a little bit of an endurance test while also trying to enjoy the season that you're in. So when August hits, it's a little bit like, it's fall, right? Right? It's practically fall. Pre-fall? Is it pre-autumn? Is it? Or is that September? Anyway, around this time, I always start to get the vibes of autumn, and it's not just because Summerween has already hit the stores, and everybody's talking about back to school, although that probably has something to do with it. Anyway, let's talk about what I've got on my short list for what I will knit next. And I was a good kid, and I brought the yarn out of my stash that I'm thinking about using, so that I have to do less photo editing. I'm looking after myself. Okay, let's start with, there are 2 cowl patterns that I want to knit, and then there's a sock pattern, because Summer Lee, bless her, has released the Cuff Club Volume 2. Heck yeah. Heck yeah. So excited. I have immediately not cast on. I haven't cast it on yet, but I picked out a sock set out of my stash because earlier in the spring I reorganized my yarn stash, instead of doing strictly by yarn weight and color, which is what I would normally do, I actually divided it between like sets of yarn, so that would include sweater quantities and sock sets, and then like single skeins. And then I divided by weight, just so that it's easy for me to find things. So all that being said, I have this sock set, and it's actually a sock blank set from Full Moon Fibers, and this one's called Totally Floral, and here's on the back, these are the 2 minis that go with it, and I am going to cast on, as soon as one of those sock whips are done, I am going to cast on the August cuff chart from Cuff Club Volume 2. I think what I'm going to do is this absolutely blowing out highlighter yellow is going to be the cuff, and then the purple I think I will use as heels and toes, or just toes, and then of course the bulk of the sock will be knit off the sock blank. And I've never knit off a sock blank before, even though I have a few of them. I think I just kind of like having them in my stash, like essentially already knit, and I just like looking at them. So that will be an interesting experience. We'll report back on how that goes. Full Moon Fibers does have some really great sock blanks and sock blank sets like this. So if you're looking, check them out. Okay, on to the cowl patterns. The first cowl pattern that I want to knit is the Whitehorn cowl by Megan Nodecker, and I have already knit this pattern. It was I believe it was last fall before I started this podcast, and I love that cowl. I knit it out of I believe it's Yak DK by the Frosted Stitch. It's definitely Frosted Stitch. I just don't remember the name of the yarn, but it was a DK weight that had yak in the yarn makeup, and it was so luxurious, and it's so warm to wear, and it's so great. But I also really love the shape of the Whitehorn cowl. So recently my husband and I were in Toronto for a weekend, and bless him, he pulled off the highway so that we could go to the Knitting Loft, which was like my great white whale of knitting stores in Toronto to get to, only because it is outside of Toronto proper. I believe it's technically in North York, and it was always, we never had enough time to drive out there and do that. So this last time that we were in Toronto, I said, if there's one thing we can do on the way to or from, please can we pull off the highway and go to Knitting Loft. So we did. Had a great time. I'll pop up some pictures that I took. I used restraint, but also I got some really nice stuff that I don't normally get to see. I don't see it locally. So this is La Bien Aimée. This is her Merino DK. Gosh, my words. And I chose this beautiful brownie tonal thing. It's so good, and it's called Drogon, apparently. So it feels very fall to me. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, I know what I can make out of that. Either a hat, which is often my go-to, but I had been thinking since I knit my first Whitehorn cowl, I want to knit another one. So that's what this is going to become. And that's going to be a great, probably pretty quick knit for me because it does knit up quickly. And I highly recommend that pattern if you're looking for a sort of slightly triangle shaped cowl that does fit nice and close to the neck. Because I don't know about you, but I always find that there's always a little too much space in most cowls, unless it's the type that you wrap around. And I really like just being able to pull something over my head that fits really nicely in that V of my jacket. So in the one that I knit previously, I did do some extra rows to give it more length, and mostly I was just so in love with the yarn that I really wanted to use up every bit of it that I could. So that's, I knit the V part a little bit. I'll pop up a picture, hopefully, one side or the other. I'll get it eventually. I think it's this side that I put things on. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm just going to max out this skein. And I highly recommend that one if you're looking for a cowl that fits closer to the neck. The other cowl that I want to knit is a colorwork cowl, which is the Thistle Thorn cowl by Lavanya Patricella. Hope I said that right. And it uses a spin cycle hand spun like yarn with a solid. And when I was at Knitting Loft, I got some spin cycle yarn, which I have never seen in person until that day. So I got this beautiful one. It was so hard to choose. I'm sure people say that all the time, but genuinely, there was a whole wall. I can't remember whether I got a picture of it or not, but they had a whole wall of this one, which is, this one's Dyed in the Wall, but they also had a whole wall of Dream State, I believe. And it was so hard to choose a color. This one's called Neveruary. Easy to say, but it's really cute. And I knew that I was gonna work from Stash as well. So it's gonna go, these two are gonna go together and be the colorwork cowl. This is deep Stash. Be good if I put it up the right way so that you can see the label. It is Louet Gems fine sport weight, and it is 100% merino. I used this in a colorwork cardigan. I used this and a gray color to stripe together. Still one of my most successful knits that I have ever made. I have a knitting friend who's like, every time I see that cardigan, I'm just like, oh, that cardigan. I'll pop a picture up if I have a decent picture. Probably the picture I'm going to pop up is like early days of taking selfies, and like I didn't know how to take photos of my knits. I'm much better at it now. So maybe I need to update the photo for that one. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing the Thistlethorn cowl because it looks like a really interesting stitch pattern and sort of ends up being textury as well. So I'm really looking forward to that. So those are sort of some autumny-esque things without going full I'm gonna knit a sweater for fall. So hopefully that'll like ease me into the fall feeling. And that is it for this project update video. Thank you so much for being here. I don't do this usually, but like if you want to like, please like and subscribe. I am trying to grow the channel a little bit. So share it with someone you think would like it. You know, like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And until I see you again, I hope you are feeling safe. I hope you are feeling cozy but not hot. Or if it is chilly where you are, I hope you're feeling cozy. And I will see you next time, and keep those stitches moving.